Hey, what's up everybody? 8-Bit Flashback here. I recently released a video about a custom build I made, the Turbo Grafx 16 Micro. And I wanted to share with you today the 3D model files for anyone out there who would like to make one of these micro consoles for themselves using a 3D printer. So this 3D model of a Turbo Grafx 16 micro console is designed to work with the Raspberry Pi Zero. And let's go ahead and take a closer look. For the model, there's going to be 3 different parts you can download. There's going to be a top half of the case, a bottom half of the case, and a small micro hue card. The bottom half of the case does have some venting to help keep that Raspberry Pi Zero a little bit cooler, and the back of the case has some cutouts for all your ports, such as the HDMI port, the USB port, and the power port. And there's a look at one of the micro hue cards, and now I'm going to go ahead and flip the top half of the case upside down so we can see inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over here. So inside the top half of the case, I have 4 different posts that are going to line up with the holes that's on the Raspberry Pi Zero board. And what I do is I put the 2 halves together, then I drill through the bottom with a small drill bit that drills through the bottom of the case and also drills through these 4 different posts. Then I can secure the Raspberry Pi Zero inside this case with some very small screws. There's also another post located right here, and this is for an optional micro momentary switch that you can use for a power switch if you choose to. And I'll talk about that a little more here in just a few. There's also a slot opening for the micro hue cards if you want to print out one of those cards that will fit inside the slot opening. And I would like to mention, when you're printing out the top half of the case, you do want to print that out in the upright position and you want to have the supports enabled. To download the necessary 3D files, these are available at Thingiverse, and I'll make sure to put the link in the description. And here's a couple pictures of the top and bottom of the case plus the micro hue card. And here's a picture showing the proper dimensions. These are the dimensions you want to print it out at. If your software doesn't automatically set it at these dimensions, these will be the proper dimensions to print your model with. I've also included a PDF file that contains some artwork for a couple different games, plus the Turbo Grafx 16 logo. And these are at the proper size inside that PDF file, so if you want to print these out onto some printable sticker paper, these will work great with your micro console. And here's what my model looked like fresh off the 3D printer using black ABS plastic. Here's a look at the inside of the case, and you can see those posts that line up with the Raspberry Pi Zero. And here's a look at the bottom of the case, where I've made some drill holes that go through the posts on the bottom half of the case and the top half of the case. So basically what I did is I made a sandwich with the Pi Zero by placing that in between the top and bottom half of the case, then secured them all together with some small screws. After installing the Raspberry Pi Zero inside the case, I then removed it from the case so I could do some extra work, which involved a lot of sanding to get rid of the blemishes on the 3D model. Then I primed it with some primer filler to fill in the voids on the model, then I sanded it again. Then I painted it with a base coat black, followed by a matte finish clear coating. And I did post some pictures of the paint I did use for this project if you want to use this specific paint. So this model does not include any sort of power button. If you want to make a power button, that can be done by installing a micro momentary switch inside the console. And what I did is I drilled a hole through the top half of the case located right here. And you can also see that there's a post that lines up with that hole as well. Then for the power button itself, I did get a little bit creative and I used the end of a mechanical pin, which has a nice round tip to it. Then what I did is I cut it to the proper length, then I melted the back side of it with a soldering iron to where it motioned out just a little bit. Then I installed that inside that hole that I just drilled on the top half of the case, and this works as a nice power button that can make contact with that micro momentary switch. Then to give my console a little bit more detail, I printed out a logo and some stickers for the micro hue cards, which really bring it to life. Then I did some small detail painting on the dots that would be located where the ports are on the original console with some yellow paint. As far as the software goes, I am using RetroPie to make all this work, along with a safe shutdown script. And RetroPie is free to download and use, but it does not come with any games. So if you want to find some games, you'll have to do some research on how to make all that work. And if you are looking for some software that's already ready to go, here's a hint for you. Search Arcade Punks and you might find what you're looking for. If you like this video, if you could, hit that like button and have yourself a great day, and I'll see you next time.